Yuma Police and Border Patrol are assisting the U.S. Marshals on a warrant service for a wanted suspect. The officers conduct a surrounding call-out and 2 occupants exit the house and are detained.
Come out with your hands up! One at a time! The police, U.S. Marshals! Slowly come out of the residence with your hands up! Keep the door open! Slowly come out with your hands up! All the way to the sky! Oh, sky's up! Hands up! Slowly come out! Continue coming my way! Continue coming this way. You stop. Man, take 4 steps to your left and place your hands in the sky. Sir, with your right hand, grab the back of your shirt. Yes, you, sir. Lift it. Turn. 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 Stop. Continue coming to the sound of my voice. Let's go. Come to me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Put that hand up. Get your hands up! Move! Hands up! Move!
The suspect briefly exits the house but then retreats back inside and grabs a rifle.
Put your hands up! He's not showing his hands! I see your hands there! Ma'am! Move over! Come over here! Come out here! Go over there! Go now! Come to us. Turn around. Turn around. Don't look at me. Walk backwards towards the sound of my voice. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Right there. Stop. Put your hands on top of your head. I got contact. Got it? Yeah, he's got a warrant for arrest. All right. Take up. We have shots fired. Shots fired. Get under that truck. Get. To the right. To the right. Bound to the right. Bound back. Bounding right. Bounding right. Bounding right. Bounding right.
I'm covering this garage door.
Set. Bound right. Bound right. Move. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Move.
Set.
Moving. Yep. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Where's he shooting from? I don't know.
Canine covered. He's got to be shooting from the front door or the windows on that left side. Hey, where do you go?
That's going to be by you. What was that?
Door?
What?
Flush that mirror. Flush that mirror. Is that the garage door?
I can't see it now.
No, I mean like the garage door. You got it? Right,
yeah.
There's windows.
Hey, I'm going back up with him. Up to the garage door. Yeah, but I want to cover this in case he moves.
Smoke! Smoke!
Hey, Hey, he's coming. I see movement. Let's go out. Shots fired.
He's got a gun. In the garage? He's in the garage door.
Yeah.
Run.
No officers were injured as the suspect apparently fired 101 rounds towards law enforcement officers, although none of the officers on the scene are reacting as if they're receiving gunfire. They don't know where the gunfire is coming from. And so I'm inclined to believe that this individual was probably shooting into the ground, shooting into his ceiling, or maybe shooting into his washer and dryer, which isn't something uncommon to experience. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by feeding the algorithm down below and subscribing to the channel if you're not already. Also, in 2026, I have my own tactical gear coming out, and so if that's something that you might be interested in, follow the link in the description to my website and sign up for the email list. I responded to a call or backing up an officer who was engaged in a gunfight with the suspect, and when I got there, the suspect was still inside the apartment and there was still shooting going on, and didn't learn until after the fact when searching the apartment that the suspect was just randomly shooting throughout the apartment. So that is something that does happen. I think saying that he was shooting towards law enforcement officers in this situation is kind of implied rather than something we can actually verify. They did say that Border Patrol utilized less lethal, and I assume they're talking about the smoke that they deployed into the garage.
Smoke! Smoke!
Although I wouldn't consider that less lethal. Smoke isn't a bad option. It could obscure the suspect's vision, making it more difficult for him to engage officers, but there is a better or additional option that I'll cover here in a second. Both a Border Patrol and a Yuma police officer fired towards the suspect, and I don't think that they hit him necessarily. There was a fire that was seen going on inside of the house after some time. They sent in a drone in there, and they observed the suspect deceased from a single gunshot wound to the head, and so I'm inclined to believe that he took his own life, which is also something that commonly happens. You see these officers peeling or bounding away from the front of the objective, which is just really good tactics, and they call this a turn and go. And because what you want to do when you're being told to move is to actually turn and look the path that you're going to be running so that you can ensure that you're not going to be tripping over anything. If you just go because someone told you to go, maybe you're tripping over a backpack that your partner put on the ground, or maybe you're just working in an environment where there's a little bit more clutter. And obviously we want to avoid falling on the ground because it won't look all that great, but you could also injure yourself. At one point you see this officer rolling down this window, and the reason that he's doing this is just because he wants to create a stable shooting platform. I know, you know, and he knows that he's not doing this because he thinks his door is cover. He's actually utilizing the front of his vehicle, his engine block, as cover in this situation. And another reason why you want to roll down your windows whenever you have the opportunity to do so in a situation like this, if you're going to be working around your vehicle, is for the simple fact that if a round strikes that glass, you don't want to have to be dealing with that extra fragmentation. I don't know if this is technically a task force, but this is the way that task force are created. You have Yuma Police, Border Patrol, and the U.S. Marshals. I do know U.S. Marshals all the time work in task force, but a task force is comprised of officers from maybe different agencies or different divisions. And in this case, that could be the case, or it could just be as simple as, hey, we have this warrant that we're running tomorrow. Do you have 10 guys that can come help us? So in both of those scenarios, it's not an ideal situation because you're comprised of officers who are working together on a single objective or a single mission, but don't typically work together. Now, in my own experience, task force have never operated greatly, and the reason is because of that. They get together every so often. They're not together all the time. They don't know each other's habits, and different agencies or different divisions can have different capabilities. And so I don't know if the U.S. Marshals have drones. I don't know if the U.S. Marshals have gas, but maybe they don't. Certainly, I'm pretty sure the Border Patrol does, since a drone was sent in there. That could also be from the police department as well. But in this case, or in cases where you are conducting a surrounding call out or you have a barricaded suspect, typically the course of action when you start receiving gunfire from inside of an objective is to immediately introduce gas inside that objective. You're going to be using a 40 millimeter launcher to get that done, put it in a window. And the reason that you want to do that is because you want to introduce something into that suspect's environment that's going to discourage him from continuing to do what he's doing. The reason that this doesn't happen, or is not part of the plan as far as I can tell, is not because this isn't Border Patrol's policy or their standard procedure, because it might be, but they're working with other agencies who probably don't have gas masks, and that wasn't part of their brief. if you introduce gas into a residence or an apartment and the people around you don't have gas masks, even if they're on the perimeter, that could be detrimental, because in that moment, all of a sudden the wind catches the right way and the officers on the perimeter are feeling the effects of that gas. Now they can no longer be effective. I think that this was a job well done, and I think that this was the best outcome possible. I think that this idea and the argument being made, well, the suspect wouldn't have had an opportunity to retrieve a rifle and start shooting at officers if they would have utilized speed, surprise, and violence of action, which I assume would have looked like them rolling up to the garage, going up to the garage door, and then deploying a banger at least inside the initial entryway, or maybe at doors or other doors or entrances or windows, and that this would stop the suspect from taking out a couple officers and making this a slightly more catastrophic situation than it already was, isn't a great argument to be made. In my previous video, I showed you a 71-year-old male who was dying of cancer meeting officers at the kitchen, being affected by two bangers, and pointing a fake gun at officers. You're never going to be able to mitigate all the risk regardless of which tactic you use, but you should be continuously mitigating risk and analyzing the difference between necessary and unnecessary risk. Is it necessary for us to go inside an objective as quickly as possible when we're trying to rescue a hostage, and in doing so, assuming all of that risk, exposing ourselves to angles we can't possibly cover, or exposing our back to an angle down the hall when I have an open door to the left and at least two of us need to go into that room? Yes, that is a dangerous situation, but the mission says that we are supposed to be taking on that risk because the risk is necessary. I do have one suggestion that the internet is going to have a hard time grasping, so I'll probably have to make a whole nother video on this topic, but you could be placed in situations where your best option is probably to minimize your exposure versus presenting yourself as more of a target to an unidentified threat in an unidentified position. If you go out in front of your house in the street and you look at your house, tell me what you can see inside your house. And the answer is probably nothing. Your vision is probably obscured by blinds or photonic barriers. And so what I do when I see officers in training in what I think is not an advantageous position is I ask them, when this happens, what are you gonna do? And the answer that they give is usually the position that they should be starting from. And so in this case, if you're up over the top of a vehicle and you're looking at a house and all of a sudden a round comes from the house somewhere and it impacts the truck window, rear window right where you are, or the glass if you're up over the top of the hood of a vehicle, and their answer is gonna be, well, I'm gonna get down, right? They're not gonna just stand there and go, well, where did it come from? Because you don't know, and you're spending more time exposed to a threat that you can't see. And so what I would do in this situation is I would favor not exposing myself or utilizing as much cover as I can until I can identify where I believe the threat is. I was in a situation once where we were running a warrant on a structure. There was at least one suspect or multiple suspects inside the residence, and I was actually utilizing an armored truck, and I was looking through the side door window through the front windshield, all armored, at the objective. And I have a 40, not even, a rifle. And there's a marksman on a Bearcat, to my left. And I was told on the scene that I needed to be up over the hood of the vehicle. And I did it reluctantly because I didn't have any other choice, but that doesn't make sense to me, okay? Why would I expose myself to a structure with an unidentified person in an unidentified location and make myself easier to hit before I can ever identify where the shots are coming from? If you made it to the end of this video, don't forget to feed the algorithm down below and subscribe to the channel if you're not already.